So, like Unit 4, Unit 5 also deals with the drugs acting on CNS, that is central nervous system. Okay, so let us quickly start off. So, here we see three major topics. One is general anesthetics. Okay, second one is narcotic analgesics. Third one is NSAID. Okay, so if you see the term anesthetic, the drug which induces general anesthetics induce unconsciousness. Okay, insensitive. They make you insensitive or loss of consciousness. So that is anesthetics. What is narcotic? Narcotic means anything that is related to morphine. Morphine is a substance. Okay, so any chemical structure or a drug or any other thing for that purpose which is resembling morphine either in structure or actions, biological actions, that is termed as narcotic in general term. Okay, so generally narcotic includes all the chemical substances which are resembling morphine. What is analgesics? Analgesics are the drugs or chemical structures which are taken purposefully to relieve pain. To relieve pain. So, what is NSAIDs? Its full form is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay, so what is non-steroidal indicating? That means these all are also analgesics. Okay, relieve pain as well as inflammation. What is inflammation? Swelling. Inflammation means swelling. Okay, to reduce the swelling as well as the pain, we are using a new class of synthetic drugs, synthetic analgesics, which are not based on morphine chemical structure. Okay, apart from narcotic analgesics, we have developed synthetic analogs which retain the analgesic property that is showed by the morphine and its analog, but it doesn't have the side effects such as dependency, which are very much present in morphine and its analogs. Okay, this is the main point you need to remember. That is the reason we call them non-steroidal. So morphine's chemical structure consists of a steroid. Okay, I'll show you steroid structure when we deal with that morphine and related analogs. Okay, so these three topics we have to deal in unit 5. One is general anesthetics, second one is narcotic analgesics, third one is NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. If you observe the commonality, all the three have the same purpose. What is the purpose? To relieve the pain. To relieve the pain. General anesthetics generally used during surgeries. Okay, during surgeries, it will cause pain. Okay, to reduce that pain or to make the patient not to feel the pain, we induce general anesthetics during surgical procedures. That means the common point is pain there. Narcotic analgesics. Analgesic term is itself indicating that it is also used for relieving the pain, otherwise not to cause the pain. Generally, in earlier days, morphine was used to relieve the surgical pains when there were no sophisticated surgical procedures, knives, etc. Aseptic conditions were not fully developed in those days. Morphine was used to tolerate the pain. Okay, but what is happening? Morphine slowly making that person who is using the morphine to get addicted to it, having dependence on it. Okay, that is not needed. Okay, so we have structurally evaluated. We have gone thoroughly through the structure activity relationships of morphine, and we have found out, the scientists at that time found out that which chemical portion is responsible for dependence and which is responsible for pain relieving properties. So what we did, we have taken the good thing out of morphine and synthesized in our laboratory, and it has given the way for development of NSAIDs. From there, NSAIDs were into the picture and they have got developed. Today, we have them as over-the-counter drugs also. So, this is the basic introduction you need to know and keep in mind before we proceed with the specific topics. So, as part of it, you should also know that the central nervous system neurotransmitters are different from autonomic nervous system transmitters, neurotransmitters. Okay. In autonomic nervous system, we have catecholamines for sympathetic nervous system, such as dopamine, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. For parasympathetic, you have acetylcholine. In central nervous system, in the brain, you have various neurotransmitters such as GABA, gamma amino butyric acid, glycine, okay, 5-HT3, which is also known as serotonin. Okay, in memory related functions, dopamine involves as a key neurotransmitter, and many other specific neurotransmitters are present, which are very minute in quantities. Okay, these are the neurotransmitters you have to keep in your mind while dealing with central nervous system. Okay, fine. And the receptors also differ. And for example, if you see morphine related drugs, they will have three subtypes of receptors for morphine. They are mu, kappa, and delta. These three are morphine receptors. And you have GABA connected voltage ion channels. You know, four types of receptors. Please mute yourself. Yes, someone is speaking. Is it fine? Shall I continue? Is there any problem? Give me a moment. Fine. So let's continue. So this is it. So we are going to deal these three topics in as part of unit 5. So let us start with general anesthetics. So let us start with the classification.
You're on mute, sir.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So just before, due to the disturbance, I have muted also. It has muted me also. Okay. So that's fine. So we were dealing with the classification of general anesthetics. So general anesthetics were classified into inhalation anesthetics and intravenous anesthetics. Okay. IV I have abbreviated for intravenous through the injecting to the vein. Okay. So which will have 100% bioavailability as you know. Fine. So the inhalation anesthetics and IV anesthetics, that means they are classified based on the route of administration. Route of administration, how we are administering them. Okay. So under inhalation anesthetics, the examples are these: halothane, methoxyfluorine, enfluorine, sevoflurane, isoflurane, isoflurane, and desflurane. These are the examples for inhalation anesthetics. And the common point is that all these are halogenated hydrocarbons. What is halogenated? They are having halogen atom. They are having halogen atom. Okay. So hydrocarbons, they composed of hydrogens and carbons. Simple hydrocarbons, halogenated. So the examples include halothane, methoxyfluorine, enfluorine, sevoflurane, isoflurane, and desflurane. Out of these things, we need to learn the synthesis of halothane. So this is about halogenated hydrocarbons coming under the category inhalation anesthetics. If you see IV, intravenous anesthetics, they are further classified as ultra short acting barbiturates. So barbiturates becoming part of each and every disease condition. If you see, we have discussed about barbiturates in connection with sedative and hypnotics. Okay, and we have also discussed barbiturates as part of antipsychotics and also as part of anticonvulsants. Now we are discussing barbiturates with respect to their anesthetic properties. So how they are classified? Ultra short acting barbiturates, ultra short acting, ultra short acting barbiturates. So the examples include methohexital sodium, okay, methohexital sodium. That means it is a salt of sodium, sodium salt of methohexital. Thiamylal sodium, thiamylal sodium. I'll represent it as Na+. Okay. Thiopental sodium, thiopental sodium. These are the three examples for ultra short acting barbiturates. If you see the second category, that is dissociative anesthetic. Dissociative anesthetic. You have one example for this, that is ketamine hydrochloride. Ketamine hydrochloride, HCl. So this is the classification of general anesthetics as per our syllabus. We have general anesthetics categorized into two based on their mechanism of action. One is inhalational anesthetics, the second one is intravenous anesthetics. Inhalation anesthetics, the examples we have here are halogenated hydrocarbons. The examples include halothane, methoxyfluorine, enfluorine, sevoflurane, isoflurane, and desflurane. If you see intravenous anesthetics, they are further having two categories under it. One is ultra short acting barbiturates, the second one is dissociative anesthetics. So, methohexital sodium, thiamyl sodium, and thiopental sodium are the examples for ultra short acting barbiturates. Out of these three, you need to learn the synthesis of methohexital sodium. And the second category under intravenous anesthetics is dissociative anesthetic. The example is ketamine hydrochloride. We need to learn the synthesis of ketamine hydrochloride as well. So, this is the classification of general anesthetics. So, what we need to know? Unit 5 deals about drugs acting on CNS like that of Unit 4. In Unit 4, we saw about antipsychotics, sedative hypnotics, and anticonvulsants. Here we are going to see about general anesthetics, narcotic analgesics, and NSAIDs. General anesthetics means they induce unconsciousness, that means making person undergoing surgical procedure to be insensitive to the pain. Narcotic analgesics means they are also used to relieve the pain, but they are very much related to morphine, chemically and biological action wise. And as we have a side effect called dependency related to morphine, we wanted to overcome that side effect and we have developed based on thorough structural examination of morphine and its related analogs the NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent. Inflammation means it is a swelling and non-steroidal means they doesn't have morphine as the part of their chemical structure. So if you observe the common point in three categories of the drugs, their main purpose is relieving pain. As part of it, we need to mind the central nervous system receptors. The examples and very few I have mentioned here, and you may please refer to pharmacology for the neurotransmitters present in the central nervous system. GABA, glycine, 5-HT3 or serotonin and dopamine are the major receptors, neurotransmitters. And the receptors mu, kappa, delta are very much specific to morphine and its analgesic actions. So, and then we saw the first topic, that is general anesthetics. We have started with seeing its classification. General anesthetics, right? They are categorized into two categories. One is inhalational anesthetics. The second one is intravenous anesthetics. Inhalational anesthetics are halogenated hydrocarbons. The examples include halothane, methoxyflurane, enflurane, sevoflurane, isoflurane, and desflurane. Then we have intravenous anesthetics categorized into two subgroups. One is ultra short acting barbiturates. The examples include methohexidyl sodium, thiamyl sodium, thiopental sodium. The second subcategory is dissociative anesthetic, that is ketamine hydrochloride. Out of all these drugs, we need to learn the synthesis of halothane, methohexidyl sodium, and ketamine hydrochloride. Okay, let us see the chemical structure of halothane first. Halothane. So, how it looks like? You know, ethane. So, what is ethane? This is ethane, right? This is a hydrocarbon. Ethane is a hydrocarbon having two carbon atoms. So, what is halothane? Halothane will have three fluorines instead of three hydrogens. this hydrogen, and this hydrogen are replaced with fluorine. Okay, and you see the second carbon, two hydrogens are replaced with bromine at one hydrogen, chlorine at the other. Bromine and here chlorine. So what is the structure of halothane? Two carbons. Okay, one carbon, all the hydrogens replaced with fluorines, and the second carbon will have one bromine and one chlorine and one hydrogen. So 3 out of 4 halogens are present. So remember that it is halothane. So let us see the synthesis of halothane, how it is synthesized. The starting material for the synthesis of halothane is trichloroethylene. Trichloroethylene. C double bond C, ethylene. Okay. So you have two chlorines here, one hydrogen, one more. So three chlorines are present, trichloro. Two carbon containing hydrocarbon, so eth, double bond, so ethylene. Trichloroethylene is the starting material. What we need to do, we have to add HF, hydrogen fluoride. Okay, hydrogen fluoride, and the catalyst is SbCl. Okay, and the temperature of 130 degrees centigrade is maintained to get the following intermediate. What is that intermediate? Let us see. It is converted into alkane now, from alkene to alkane. Here you have three fluorines got added from hydrogen fluoride. And the second carbon will have two hydrogens and one chlorine. What we do, what is missing from the final structure? Only bromine is missing. So what we do, we'll add bromine. Do bromination. Okay, bromination can be done by using catalyst FeBr3. Okay, so finally we get halothane. So three fluorines on the first carbon, one bromine, one chlorine, and one hydrogen, giving us halothane. So this is the synthesis of halothane. So the starting material is trichloroethylene. We add hydrogen fluoride so that first carbon gets its three fluorines. And as we have a chlorine already present, we need to add bromine so that we'll get that missing bromine. So what is the use? So it is a potent, safe, and frequently employed general inhalation anesthetic. So it is potent, first point. Safe and frequently used. Very commonly used inhalational anesthetics, that is halothane. Clear? So this is it for today's session, and we'll discuss the remaining chemistry of general anesthetics in the next session.